Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
You familiar with the Ten Commandments?
You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. What's your faith?
I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Great. Do you believe in the Holy Trinity? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit?
I think a lot of people here do. So
good. And that doesn't make you a polytheist, does it?
Probably not, no.
Great. And so in my faith, I believe there's one true God. He resides in all of us, and he appears in different forms, but it's one true God. So I'm an ethical monotheist. That's the way I would describe my faith. Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
No, I think it's... No, well...
You be honest.
Isn't Hinduism...
Because you're an Indian.
I can ask yourself that. Hinduism believes in Shiva and what is it? The flute god. I forget.
Right, Krishna, who's you're thinking of?
Yeah, Krishna. But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And isn't the United States of America also, based on what Protestantism is, based on how those values are? Wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are?
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you any more than you are to me, but what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And I think that it's really important that we not reinvent the founding of this country and what it was actually.
This is so funny because it shows you that all these South Asian men especially who have become these big Trump supporters, they're not one of them. They're like, wait a second. Like, I'm white on the inside. They don't see that. Like, you can see Vivek's, hairline trying to run away from the situation. Or, Kash Patel in that one interview where they're like, we hope this person was a person of color. For so long, first-generation immigrant South Asian, Indian people have been told to assimilate to white standards. They might see themselves, or we might see ourselves as an American first and foremost. But the problem is, most of America does not see us this way. You know how many people ask me if I do yoga? If I pray 5 times a day? I grew up Catholic in Iowa. America will always be racist against people of color. This is why people like Zora Mamdani have resonated so much with people. Is because he's so authentic about who he is. He knows his identity. He's not trying to cosplay. He's not like, a typical South Asian candidate like Kamala Harris or Nikki Haley who really try to appease white voters in their identity. Yeah, Vivek, you deserve this.
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So Vivek Ramaswamy is finally realizing what a lot of people, especially black folks, have been saying for years. No matter how hard you try to fit in with certain crowds, if you are not white and Christian, they will still remind you that you are not one of them. This man has spent years defending MAGA, saying white things like how kids born from illegal shouldn't get citizenship, talking tough on immigration, trying to prove that he is one of the good ones. But now, the same people he tried so hard to impress are telling him straight up, yeah, we like your politics, but you are Hindu, you are Indian, so no, you can't be our governor. That's crazy, right? But that's exactly what went down when he went to a Turning Point US event with Charlie Kirk. Let's see how Black Americans and Indians are reacting to this. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video to help the channel out. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments.
The extreme elements of any party will not accept all members, even if they believe in their ideology. Because sometimes you can't just be part of the way in. You got to be all the way in. You got to not only believe what they believe, but you got to look the right way. You got to dress the right way. You got to be perfect for you to be in the club. And Vivek Ramaswamy is finding that out. Check this out. The Ohio gubernatorial candidate was at a Turning Point USA event in Montana, running for office in Ohio, but he was in Montana. And he was speaking at Montana State University, and he was getting some disturbing questions. Let me just share some of the stuff that people said. He says, one person said, a male student, Jesus Christ is God and there's no other God. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is. What are you conserving? You're bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth. And then a female student said that Ramaswamy was masquerading as a Christian. And he responded, he says, I'm an ethical monotheist. That's the way I would describe my faith. He asked, do you think it's appropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be president of the United States? And this was her response, no. But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And isn't America based on what Protestantism is and based on how those values are? Wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are? You see, the point I've been trying to make for a long time, for many years, especially to black and brown people who are conservatives, legitimately conservatives, believe in conservative principles, whether it be political ideology or financial conservatism, they believe in it. But for the extremes in the MAGA movement, they still don't get into the club because they don't look the right way and they don't pray the right way. Just believing in MAGA principles, political principles, is not enough. So for those of you out there that believe that you're going to be accepted, for a lot of them, you're not going to be accepted. You're never going to get in that club. When you show up with your membership card, it's going to be stamped. He's kind of in, but he ain't all the way in. That's just the way it is. And these are young people. This is the future of organizations like Turning Point USA, obviously, a lot of young folks, and maybe the future of MAGA. So Vivek Ramaswamy is finding out the hard way. Because just because you believe what they believe, it doesn't get you in the club. Your skin's still too brown. Your faith may not stack up to what they believe is the only faith, like the guy said, the only God. You may not look the right way, you may not pray the right way, therefore they'll never let you in. Just when you thought you were there, they'll remind you you're not even close.
There are times when I wish that Paul Mooney was still alive. And Vivek Ramaswamy getting torn a new one by them young white evangelicals is one of them times. Because, child, and he went with his best white face on. Can we talk about the makeup that he was wearing that was trying to make him look like he was 4 shades lighter? It is very sad. It is very sad. And I'm just saying that Paul Mooney was always say that Black people got their Negro wake-up call. I don't know what you would call this besides an Indian wake-up call, but all the times he was on here trying to say how wonderful America was, how lecturing the black people about how we don't understand and it's not like that anymore, and campaigning with the Republicans and trying to be a Republican because he believes in the values that Republicans share. Do you believe in this one? Do you believe that you can't be governor of Ohio because you are a Hindu and you brown? They see through that light makeup. Child, that makeup was sending me. But you guys, Indian wake up call? Because you know what they say, tokens get spent. And it's very sad, but I don't feel sorry for him because the way he was lecturing black people about how we don't know what's going on in this country, we're so blessed, we're so privileged, it's not racist, it's racism is not, this isn't a racist country. I want somebody to ask him today. I want somebody to ask him now.
I'm not sure what it's going to take for my people to truly realize that we're not welcome here. And it really doesn't matter whether you were born here or not. We're all looked at the same. Now, if you're Indian and you're watching this, you know as much as I do that we have a lot of similarities and we have a lot of disconnects. As descendants of a nation that was once colonized, we tend to whitewash a lot. And that is a truly strange phenomenon that happens. As someone that looks like, speaks like, and basically has the same story as Vivek Ramaswamy, I can let you know right now that this is nothing new. It doesn't matter what your accent sounds like. It doesn't matter what you believe in. It doesn't even matter how rich you are. The point that I'm trying to make is that no matter how hard we try, we're never going to be them. And this is nothing different than what other minority groups go through in this country. Whether you're black, whether you're Mexican, whether you're Asian, whether you're Indian, it doesn't matter. We'll always be seen as the lackey, and as soon as they don't need us anymore, we're gone. And the faster that we realize that, the better.
Every time Vivek Ramaswamy gets on stage, it feels like he's putting himself through a humiliation ritual.
If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change.
I remember watching him during the 2024 debates, and he was really trying to make himself like this baby Trump thing, and it wasn't working because people just didn't like him due to the fact that he wasn't white and Christian. It's funny because as much as the right would want you to believe that the left only cares about identity, it's pretty evident that identity is the most important thing to them. Because the left is open to anyone. Anyone can be on the left and be accepted. On the right, it's like, you're gay, you're not in. You're black or brown, you're allowed, but like once we go far enough to the right, you're not allowed anymore. That's not even mentioning what they do to beer companies that even think about trans people. Just give it like a few more months and they're going to be calling Kash Patel slurs. I promise you they will.
To the people that are pointing out that Christianity now in America, especially in the evangelical South and things like that, is no longer about the worship of the ways and the life that Jesus lived and worshiping God. It's now about, white Christian nationalism, right? They've merged the bigotry and racism into under the guise of Christianity. You are right on the money. And those are young adults. Oh, there's more. That is Vivek Ramaswamy. Remember, he was running for president. His family is descended from India. He is a U.S. citizen, right? But however, they want to know, these kids, these young adults at the Turning Point USA, yes, Charlie Kirk's company, the dog whistling's out. They want to know how could he do politics when he is not Christian, which really means you're not white. You're not American as we know it. That kid snitched on himself and said, you are Indian. Before he corrected himself and said, you are Hindu. And then we watch Vivek here have to justify. I mean, what happened to separation of church and state? You want to talk about founding fathers. But Vivek had to justify his existence. I'll be damned if I ever have to justify my existence in front of some Europeans. But let's keep going.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
You familiar with the Ten Commandments? You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian. I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America.
We're going to do an exercise. If you've got this far in the video, run back the video. And every time you hear the word Christian, just replace it with the word white. Christian voices should be the voices that represent America. White voices should be the voices that represent America. There's a bunch of Christians and Americans that are not white. They will still find a way to remove them from the pool. There are a bunch of black people in this country that are Christian to the core, even more Christian than a lot of these folks. They still find a way to exclude them. They still find a way. You get the point. But now you see Vivek over there. They also call you out on something else, brother. They said you're masquerading to be a Christian. I know you're not masquerading to be a Christian, but you know what they're picking up on? Even these young adults, these adults that are learning all this stuff over there from Turning Point USA, they see you are trying to justify your existence. You are trying to find a way to fit in with them in their Christian lifestyle, even though you are of a different religion, different sect, whatever, etc. And they assume that you're worshiping their God. They assume that you want to be just, and that, look at that, they're picking on you, letting you know you're not welcome in this club. Now, in Vivek's defense, brother, you're right. You're not running to be pastor of America. You're running to be governor of Ohio. You ran to be president of the United States of America. But anyway, I say all this to say, insert the last clip.
Isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And isn't the United States of America also, based on what Protestantism is, based on how those values are? Wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are?
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you any more than you are to me. But what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And I think that it's really important.
I say all of that to say I will never let you guys gaslight me, right? We're less than a month removed from when people that look like me were telling you, you heard that, gentleman? Isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on this, that, and the third? And then went to the bigotry, went to try to exclude the brother because, oh, he's not Christian, and went to the dog whistles. I said, stop telling me about context. Stop telling me about this, that, and third when your words are drawing a certain group of people and are radicalizing groups of people. It's either you are intentionally doing those things or you're not smart enough to adjust. You got a bunch of young adults there who they may not even know it are on that pipeline. That's right. Under the guise of Christianity. Even for someone as conservative as Vivek. But because he ain't bleached his skin enough and he don't worship Jesus, that bigotry start oozing out, that racism start oozing out like venom. You got those people under your banners, Turning Point USA behind you, using your name after you're no longer here to correct it. Acting as though you would have lobbied and vied for this stuff. And you guys are trying to tell us, oh, the words, he was a guy that brought peace. Oh, well, that's peace right there for you. And again, Vivek's still at the end trying to justify his existence. I will rather sit and live in the stink of mediocrity. In a stink of mediocrity, okay, while being progressive, rather than selling out my soul and be a modern minority for a bunch of conservatives who will remind me anyway that there is a ceiling to my ascension. Good luck.
So let me see here. First, you can't be a vice presidential candidate and be gay. Now, you can't be a presidential candidate and be Hindu, or gubernatorial candidate and be Hindu. The white folks told Vivek Ramaswamy, look, we love you. We love you, man. We love everything about you. Your poise, your experience, your success, your belief system, not religious beliefs. That's where we got to pump our brakes. Your policy is amazing. I agree with everything. But you not being a Christian, that's where I draw the line. We have seen both sides of the aisle basically be extremely prejudiced for two different reasons. On the Democratic side, we saw Vice President Kamala Harris when she was on the campaign trail to be the presidential nominee of the Democratic Party. She said her first choice was Secretary Pete Buttigieg, but she didn't pick him because he was gay. And to clarify, a lot of people say it wasn't just because he was gay, it was because of how people would perceive them together, a black woman and him being gay. That's too much going on. But at the end of the day, if he wasn't gay, he would have been chosen. And now we go to the Republican side of the ticket, and Vivek Ramaswamy was a Republican candidate for the president of the United States, but now he's a gubernatorial candidate for the governor of Ohio. And he was at an event for Turning Point USA. I think it was a different state like Montana or something. And a whole bunch of white kids got up there and told him that, yeah, you sound like a pretty great politician. Like, you would be a great governor. But that Hindu thing. And they would not let it go. And it's so crazy because both sides of the aisle, the people in response to, although, you know, Vice President Kamala Harris was the actual one in power who could make it happen, these kids can't even vote for him for governor. So there's a difference there. But it's the fact that both parties told the candidates that they are qualified. They actually like their policies. Like, we like what you stand for. It's just these few things we won't allow. Oh man, that was a good for Vivek. That wasn't in his state. He'll probably get those same questions, but he seems to get a lot of love in Ohio. And the way it looks, I don't know what's going on in the inner workings of Ohio. He's probably going to be the next governor.
This right here is the reality check moment. Vivek thought politics alone would earn him a seat at that table. He thought agreeing with MAGA on immigration, woke culture, and all that would make them see him as one of their own. But see, when your whole political circle is built around us versus them, it doesn't matter how loud you cheer for them, they'll still look at you and say, "You're not us." And what's wild is that he's hearing it straight to his face. At that event, a woman literally told him, "You can't lead us because you're Hindu and this is a Christian nation." And instead of flipping out, he tried to reason with her, said, "I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio." Like he had to explain that America's supposed to have freedom of religion. But even with that, some people in that room just weren't buying it. It's actually kind of sad, but it's also a big told you so moment, because this is what so many minorities, especially Black Americans, have been saying forever. You can vote Republican, wave the flag, say all the right things, but deep down, to some folks, you'll always be the outsider, and that's what's happening to Vivek right now. He's learning that MAGA acceptance has limits, and those limits stop right at race and religion. Look, you can chase their approval all you want, but at the end of the day, if your skin or your faith doesn't match their idea of American, they'll remind you quick. Vivek's getting a real taste of that right now. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about this situation. Do you think he's finally realizing what's really going on, or will he still keep defending them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real talk. See you in the next video.